I would now like to welcome up the One Sustainability Science capstone group of the evening. They have been working with the Kazakhstan Waste Management Association. Jordan?
My name is Jordan Coney, and today I will be presenting the MOS final briefing with our project focused on plastic waste management in Kazakhstan. Our presentation this evening will cover our background, methodological approach, and some recommendations to our clients with space for questions at the end. We are a team of students with a diverse set of skills, including a GIS specialist, a model expert, making us the right team for this project with such varied needs. Our project involves a task force of 3 distinct clients, each with a different stake in how Kazakhstan manages its plastic waste. KazWaste is focused on building practical, economically viable waste management systems. The Ministries of Energy and Ecology are concerned with protecting environmental quality and natural resources. And finally, the Petrogas Chemical Association wants to ensure that any new policies don't undermine the competitiveness of Kazakhstan's petrochemical industry. Kazakhstan is not starting from zero. The country has a solid foundation of a 22% recycling rate annually and an EPR system. Through this process, we are looking to scale this impact. Our strategy is twofold: meeting our international obligations under the UNEP and ensuring the environmental gains translate into economic stability for the country. We utilize a 3-pronged approach to data collection: literature reviews, expert interviews, and official data requests. By triangulating these sources, we have developed a truly comprehensive solution. Based in our findings, Extended Producer Responsibility Team found eco-modulation of fees to be effective in reducing single-use plastic waste and public education for increased waste collection and separation. The Tech Solutions team found that pyrolysis may be an attractive alternative to recycling that could garner investments from the petrochemical industry. We have benchmarked several different policies from a variety of plastic waste global leaders to make sure our project is grounded in proven frameworks. We use a stoplight approach to categorize the policies based on their applicability to Kazakhstan. While the 3 listed above are just a few examples, we have implemented policies from all over. California, for example, which already operates under an EPR framework, offers ready-to-implement practices for Kazakhstan, while policies from other countries may require additional adaptation. Now, proceeding to our technological processes. What is pyrolysis? Well, pyrolysis is the major technology we are evaluating besides mechanical recycling. Pyrolysis is a process in which plastics are heated in the absence of oxygen. The primary outputs are oil that are used or sold commercially. Due to this circular aspect, our clients have assured us that pyrolysis could indeed contribute to their 40% recycle goal. One of pyrolysis' key advantages is that it can process mixed or contaminated plastics that are difficult to recycle mechanically. Although the oils yielded through plastic pyrolysis do produce greenhouse gases when burned as fuels, our research found that these fuels are typically utilized in hard-to-electrify industrial processes, where virgin fossil fuels would otherwise be used. Another use for these oils is as a hydrocarbon petrochemical feedstock, making it especially relevant to our clients. Our model performs a high-level techno-economic assessment to evaluate the environmental and economic impacts of different plastic waste solution scenarios. We intend for our clients to utilize the model as follows. First, the clients will input plastic waste volume projections into the model and distribute the volume over different tech solutions on a percentage basis. The solutions model include mechanical recycling and pyrolysis, as well as landfilling and incineration to make comparisons from a baseline. The clients can build up 4 different solution scenarios in this way, each with different ratios of plastic waste going to recycling, pyrolysis, landfills, and incineration. Then the model can do its work. Through our data collection, we were able to incorporate logistical, process engineering, financial, and environmental metrics supporting the different solutions. The 4 pillars of the model feed into our outputs. These results are from sample scenarios that we have constructed to illustrate how our clients may view the results of their own inputs. Here, we clearly observe the 4 different plastic waste scenarios that we constructed for comparison. As visualized in the baseline scenario, roughly 300,000 tons of plastic waste are generated annually, with about a 22% recycling rate. The following scenarios represent an increase in non-landfill plastic waste management to 40% of the total plastic waste, with different ratios of pyrolysis and recycling making up the difference. Here, we have our scenarios-based greenhouse gas emissions. There is a heavier process emission factor associated with heavier pyrolysis than traditional recycling. But when compared to the projected emissions when conventional plastic incineration is employed to reach the 40% goal, there is a clear environmental benefit to pursuing pyrolysis as an alternative solution, saving roughly 100,000 tons of emissions per year. Greenhouse gases are not the only environmental metric we employ. The environmental analysis shows that scenarios including large increases in recycling capacity will consume far more water than scenarios employing pyrolysis. Here we have financial outputs for our sample scenarios. Total annual revenue streams for scenarios including pyrolysis do not cover annual costs, so subsidies will be required despite the highly valuable synthetic oil products. We have built this model with client independence in mind. Because the inputs are fully customizable, you can adopt the tool for various future scenarios yourself. This is not just a one-time fix. It is a dynamic tool designed to scale with the clients. As you can see, when you change your plastic waste inputs, our outputs will change with them. While this project has been rewarding, it has not been without its challenges. Broadly, we had to narrow the scope of our mission to a countrywide infrastructural problem while balancing the competitive priorities of various stakeholders and navigating language barriers. From a policy standpoint, we dealt with highly variable EPR frameworks that made a one-size-fits-all implementation difficult. Challenges regarding model development include pyrolysis being a novel, at-scale plastic waste solution. We struggled to find the resources for a baseline scenario, so we settled on a 22% recycling rate, with the remainder going to landfills. The goal of the model is to be comprehensive, but not to constrain scenario construction. Our project established a baseline framework for our clients to evaluate water management while accounting for future petrochemical industry growth. Additionally, stakeholder familiarity is critical. Aspects like public acceptance of new infrastructure and private investment levels should shape realistic implementation of scenarios. Our goal is also to include environmental concerns such as particulate matter 2.5, volatile organic compounds, and heavy metals in a detailed environmental analysis. While no waste management system is without risk, pyrolysis presents a significant net reduction in impacts compared to a 40% system that uses incineration. With proper emissions controls and monitoring to address concerns such as PM 2.5, VOCs, and heavy metals, pyrolysis and our waste management systems can provide a more sustainable and lower impact long-term solution. In conclusion, our team worked to take a countrywide plastic waste problem and provide a solution that narrowed our scope to focus on strategically paired policy, educational, and technological solutions, which led to developing a model our clients could use to project the financial, operational, and environmental implications of meeting their 40% recycling goal. Finally, we developed a short-term recommendations to further optimize plastic waste collection systems. Thank you.
Great presentation overall. Just a quick question on, like, really clear about like targeting communities that already have significant incineration infrastructure, just for the comparative benefit that you highlighted for GHG. Could you maybe speak a little bit to just the policy implications of it, then basically taking away from that workforce, right? Like the workforce that's already working at the incineration facility, maybe being able to retrain them to work for the pyrolysis facility, just from a technical standpoint, what that might look like, kind of similar to the transition that maybe we're seeing for a lot of renewable electrification infrastructure from coal, natural gas, different things like that. Yeah.
Yes. So I must clarify, part of the reason we included our incineration in regards to our greenhouse gas emissions is in part due to Kazakhstan does not necessarily have the incineration infrastructure that is represented here, but this is to represent or visualize if they were to incinerate to meet their 40% recycling goals, these are the emissions that we would be seeing, and this is to compare to our heavy pyrolysis and recycling mixtures.
Hello? Oh, pyrolysis is like the big deal. Just FYI, didn't you say? Yeah.
We're tracking it.
We're tracking it, yeah. So they're landfilling the rest of it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We're looking into, there's a National Academies study about using plastics in asphalt. Like it can go into other things, not combs, or plastic seats, but actual infrastructure. So I just wanted, it's a National Academy study. Maybe you should look at that. Because it takes large volumes, and I don't know what their roads are like, but it can go into the asphalt, okay?
That sounds good.
Yeah, but pyrolysis is, like, that's the future.
We're with it.
Thank you. Great presentation, great way to handle the technical breakdown, by the way. Isn't it awesome to know that you're working on this huge project of the future, pyrolysis? But what I'm curious about, and it's kind of what I brought up, well, I actually have two brief questions. Number one, is this dependent on people recycling, or are the companies that are creating the plastic going to also have a hand in doing the recycling? Because when it's just left up to like consumers, that just lets the organizations go scot-free. But also I had asked a question regarding the micro and nanoplastics. So I'm glad to see that there'll be some capture for PM 2.5, but I'm wondering about like particulate matter that's much smaller than PM 2.5 that enters into our bloodstream and our brains and our lungs and stuff like that. Will there be capture for smaller particulate matter as well?
So addressing your first question, well, yes, we are looking to look into our extended producer responsibility systems within Kazakhstan. So this will look in the sense of managing our producers who are making the plastic and are shipping them, and in adjoinment with how we want to manage with our educational systems. We're looking to make it so that this is a two-pronged approach. So we're looking from our producers as well as the average citizen. So these are to work in tandem. Now, in regards to our particulate matter 2.5, this is something that we are still in development. So we will be working on that as we speak. When we get 2.5, I will let you know about something smaller.